Hello everyone, welcome back to another week of the PBO, the Pokemon Battle Organization, a Pokemon draft style format on Pokemon Showdown. Of course, I am Loho Plays. I am a co-owner with PBO as well as Soren Flying. We're on to week 7 this week, going over the Kalos game specifically, which is known as like the Inexperienced League. Honestly, everyone in this division has been playing really well. Definitely could compete with Unova for sure, but yeah, we're gonna finish off going through the games as well as reviewing them. It is week 7, so I'm not gonna review most of them because I know like a lot of people are having more fun with the last couple sets for the people that didn't really think about playoffs, and then we are going to talk about playoffs at the end. So I'm going to do, of course, going through the battles, doing the reviews, the short ones that I have, and then we're going to look at playoffs. But yeah, and of course any criticism that I make is specifically made to be positive and not in any way meant to be personal. So let's go ahead and hop into the first battle. We have the Toronto Staraptors versus the Las Vegas Corviknights. The Toronto Staraptors have the team roster in the top right, while the Las Vegas Corviknights have the team roster in the bottom right. Toronto Staraptors decided to bring Jigglypuffs, Dragapult, Lucario, Gardevoir, Oricorio, and Toedscruel, while Las Vegas Corviknights decided to bring Arbolivia, Lokix, Iron Valiant, Typhlosion, Hisui, Quaquaval, and Vesequin. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned because we are going to be going over playoffs and championships for the Kalos Division as well. So let's go ahead and get into the battle. So Vesequin out against Dragapult. Immediately Dragapult going for a flamethrower does a hefty chug, 53%, but Vesequin is able to get the toxic off on Dragapult. Then we're going to see a switch into Quaquaval as it takes a huge Draco Meteor, taking 81%. Excellent prediction for the Toronto Staraptors. Then we're going to see another double out into Arbolivia as it's going to be Shuttleable from Dragapult. But obviously at this point Arbolivia can wall Dragapult. But now we're going to see Dragalge come in on the Dazzling Gleam. And then we're going to see a double from Arbolivia into Lokix, while Dragalge actually makes an incredible double out into Oricorio as well. So really good plays by Toronto Staraptor here. And at this point, yeah, you definitely can recognize that the Oricorio can safely kind of Quiver Dance up on Typhlosion Hisui. So it's going to set up 2, and then it's going to be pretty scary in this endgame because now that it has +2, it's looking like it's about to do a lot of damage to everything. So yeah, even Revelation Dance at this certain amount of HP is going to take out Vesequin as well. Now we see Lokix come in, wondering if First Impression does enough. It does not do enough. It is very close though. We're going to see Revelation Dance come out again, and then we're finally going to see that basically to take this thing out, Typhlosion goes for a shot. Was it faster there? Interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, Dragalge comes out, goes for a Sludge Bomb on Arbolivia. So the 6-0 is definitely prevented here, but the damage is already done. We see Dragalge continuing to spam Sludge Bomb. I'm going to do a ton of damage to Arbolivia. Now Typhlosion Hisui's out. It is Assault Vest Dragalge, meaning that it's really not going to do that much damage. See a Draco even come out. That's insane. Booster Energy on Iron Valiant isn't enough to save back this game. We're going to see Gardevoir come out, and then we're going to see that Gardevoir is actually Scarfed. So it will outspeed and take out Iron Valiant, even after the -1 special attack, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, we just finished going over this match, so now we are going to review it. I don't have a lot of notes for this. Again, this week I'm making it a little bit shorter, plus I'm a little crunched on time this week, so I'll go over the main things. Turn 2 obviously was a great prediction on the Toronto Staraptors to get this Draco Meteor off, because obviously your opponent doesn't want to stay in on another flamethrower, so really good play here. Turn 5, on this Dragalge into Arbolivia situation, I do like the double into Oricorio for Toronto Staraptors, but also just staying in and going for a Sludge Bomb here is pretty free because your opponent doesn't have great switch into it. Even if Typhlosion Hisui switches in, it's going to be taking probably about 30%. So it's still not a great switch in anyway. So, and also I think from Las Vegas side of things, of switching a Lokix on a potential Sludge Bomb is also going to be doing quite a lot of damage, especially if this is the normal Life Orb Lokix that you've been running most weeks. It's definitely going to get chipped down a lot faster than you think. Also 311, 313. Okay, no. So yeah, that was pretty much the only things here. For Las Vegas, switching directly low kicks into potential sludge bomb is way too dangerous to potentially sack. But also, you don't have great ways of dealing with Dragalge. And then, of course, you gotta respect Oricorio as a threat with Quiver Dance. And then you did have a good strat of, you know, preventing the 5-0 of just going low kicks first impression. And then you have Typhlosion and Hisui in the back. So I do think that you played well to prevent the 6-0. But I think this matchup was definitely hard for low kicks. The Las Vegas Corviknights. So that's gonna be it for this first battle. I do want to say that Las Vegas Corviknights unfortunately will not be returning next season, but I do appreciate you sticking around with us and playing throughout the whole season and getting all your matches done, and I hope that you will join us back in the future. So good luck, my man, and yeah, take it easy, enjoy the break, because I know these 7 weeks can definitely be stressful. So, and yeah, without further ado, let's move on to the next one. Alright, next up we have the Pittsburgh Scizors against the Kingston Kleavors. At the time of this match, was also really important for playoffs. Basically, it's neck and neck between Pittsburgh Scizors and Los Angeles Pelippers. Hello! You just love to cry during the videos. Okay, so Pittsburgh Scizors has the team roster in the top right, while the Kingston Kleavors have the team roster in the bottom right. Pittsburgh Scizors decided to bring Slitherwing, Screamtail, Gothitelle, Iron Treads, Rotom-Mow, and Goodra. While Kingston decided to bring Landorus, Morgrem, Glastrier, Hawlucha, Thwackey, and Toxapex. Let's get right into the battle. We're going to see a Morgrem lead for the Kleavors on the Iron Treads. Immediately, predicting Stealth Rocks does decide to go for Taunt, but we're going to see Iron Treads actually immediately go for the knockoff. And then we are going to see Reflect being set up by Morgrem as another EQ comes out, and then a Parting Shot by Morgrem out into Toxapex as another knockoff comes out, getting rid of Toxapex Assault Vest. So that's really important because now you know that the Toxapex does not have recovery besides just Regenerator. And then Iron Treads able to shake off that taunt and then doubles on Nagudra as Toxapex goes for a Surf. If it was me here, also I'd be very, very concerned of infestation strats with Toxapex here. But we actually see Goodra going for Acid Armor, obviously trying to 1v1 the Toxapex. Yeah, by setting up Acid Armors. Pretty insane, not gonna lie. We see Toxapex obviously going for a Poison here. I think that might be their only out. We'll talk about it later, but we even are seeing that Ice Beam does not do enough. And then we understand the reasoning behind Goodra having Acid Armor is that it is Resto Chesto. So it's still taking a lot of damage, but we are going to see like Goodra slowly chip away at this Toxapex. Another Poison, unfortunately, for the Goodra, but it is just going to immediately rest that off. And the Ice Beam really isn't doing that much. The worst case scenario is like you get Ice Beam freeze here, but still that's like pretty rare. I think that Ice Beam is like 10%, 10%. It is absolutely worst case scenario, but I think going for this chip on Toxapex is probably fine. You're not like, you know, really losing anything from this 1v1 because you can rest at any point that you become low health. But at some point, obviously Toxapex does have to switch because it was showing Assault Vest. So yeah, we are finally going to see on turn 17, Morgrem does come out and Goodra still stays in, Morgrem going for a Dazzling Gleam and then into a Parting Shot. So we're going to see Toxapex actually come back out, and now we're going to see the same shenanigans of trying to Ice Beam down the Toxapex, but now finally we see a double out from Goodra into Iron Treads on the Sludge Bomb, get off a really big Earthquake, 71%, and it's able to live a Surf, only a 2-hit KO, and then we're going to see another knockoff. Great prediction on Pittsburgh, but trying to catch the Lando T there. We're going to see Iron Tread switch out onto Screamtail while it takes a taunt, and then a Parting Shot from Morgrem into Thwackey on the Screamtail. Screamtail going for a Dazzling Gleam doesn't really do that much damage, but it's decent chip. We're going to see Rotom-Mow come out on the knockoff. Very good play by Kingston, knocking off the Rotom-Mow's leftovers, and then we see Rotom-Mow going for a Will-O-Wisp, which Kingston's whole team does not have any immunities to. So we are going to see Morgrem take the Will-O-Wisp. That's definitely going to whittle it over time. But Morgrem has stayed alive a lot longer than I thought. So pretty good at staying here. We're going to see a taunt on the Rotom, but then we're going to see Rotom Volt switch out into Slitherwing. With Slitherwing in now, it's looking like at least a free U-turn to me. We're gonna see a parting shot into Intimidate, which really weakens that U-turn damage. It is leftovers Landorus. It does have Protect, obviously to prevent first impression from Slitherwing. We're gonna see that Rotom was gonna Volt Switch there. I wonder if it's gonna go for it again. Nope. Catching the Willow, very good play by Kingston. Taunting the Rotom as well, as Rotom goes for the Leaf Storm to clean off Morgrem. Now we see Lando T come in, and then I think at this point, we're gonna see Lando T go for the Calm Mind. I will say this is pretty scary because some Screen Tails will have Encore, but it looks like this one didn't. So they are going to Wish into their Goodra. Even after poison damage, it looks like Goodra can definitely live this and go for an Ice Beam. They actually go for Draco Meteor instead, actually protecting the Toxapex switch in, which is a very good play. Thwackey is the following turn to take the Ice Beam. Wow, look at Pittsburgh predicting like crazy here. Actually insane. I mean, that makes sense though, because like Toxapex needs to switch out for its Regenerator boost. But yeah, Goodra switching out onto Rotom Fan to be immune to Leech Seed, and then we're going to see a U-turn from Thwackey out into Toxapex again. Yeah, Rotom freely able to go for another Will-O-Wisp onto anyone on the team, slowly whittling down Kingston's team. Now we're going to see a Volt Switch as Thwackey comes in. Now Slitherwing is in, the threat. We are going to see a Protect turn 1, but we're going to see U-turn from Slitherwing. It looks like it's most likely choiced at this point. U-turn doing good damage against Toxapex too. And it looks like we have basically Kingston stuck in this constant switch initiative of Rotom threatening Toxapex with a Volt Switch, and if Landorus ever comes in, it's gonna get Willowed, or potentially just go hard into Goodra to Ice Beam it. As well as like every time Thwackey's in and you Volt Switch on it, you just go Slitherwing again, and then you threaten with a U-turn. Ooh, very good play by Pittsburgh to actually go for the Willow there to catch the Thwackey too. Very, very good. Toxapex coming out again on the Volt Switch. Very good plays from Pittsburgh. Now we see Slitherwing actually coming out on Toxapex. Most likely going to be Wild Charge if it is, so that's why we see Landorus switch out here. But it's actually First Impression. Interesting. I wonder if we're... Okay, so we are going to see a switch here. Landorus going for a Calm Mind, and now we actually going to see Iron Treads kill Lando with an Ice Spinner. It actually outsped... I think naturally does it outspeed 309 to 342. Yeah, it does naturally outspeed. That is a very big kill here. We're going to see Glacier come out on the Iron Treads. It is going to tear ground while Treads goes for a knockoff, and then it is going to die to an Icicle Crash. Chilling Knee with Glacier isn't too bad, but we're going to see Protect on Glacier, and then we're going to see the tech on Gothitelle. Grass Knot, if it's Terra Ground, does a ton of damage. So we're going to see Glacier switch out into Thwackey. Take a huge Psychic to the face, 50%, holy shit. Gothitelle actually being a threat with a Life Orb, I never used it this good before. We're going to see a switch from Gothitelle into Screamtail, as Thwackey goes for a knockoff, getting rid of their leftovers. Toxapex comes back out. We're going to see Wish from Screamtail, obviously trying to keep up the rest of their team very healthy. Goodra comes in, takes the Sludge Bomb, does no damage. And we're basically seeing that, you know, the majority of Pittsburgh's team is staying very, very healthy, as slowly but surely Kingston's team is going to be taking a lot of chip here. So Goodra can kind of just sit here. It does have rest at the end of the day, so it can freely Draco and, you know, Ice Beam, do kind of whatever it wants, especially since Landorus is gone. Rotom Mo can actually freely Volt Switch too. But we are going to see Toxapex switch back out into Thwackey as Gothitelle comes back in. Now this is just a very, very free Psychic. We are to see a U-turn for the Thwackey and then go into Glacier. But with that Psychic damage, it is going to die to 2, meaning that Glacier technically dies here, but it is going to Protect to get back some of its leftovers to make it stay alive slightly longer. Then we're going to see a double back out in Thwackey on the Grass Knot, but realistically this doesn't matter too much. Gothitelle got off the damage that it needed. Thwackey going for a knockoff isn't going to kill Gothitelle, and then Gothitelle is going to take it out with the Psychic. Then finally Glacier comes out. We go for a Grass Knot here, takes out Glacier. Damn, Gothitelle is actually good. And then we're going to spam Psychic, I believe, for the final 2 turns to end off the game. Hawlucha, I don't think without Grassy Terrain up to activate its Unburden, is not going to be able to stay in this game. So yeah, that's a GG. So that means that based on this match that like Los Angeles Pelippers had to win like 5 or 6-0 to guarantee their playoff spot. So this is actually a huge match for Pittsburgh's basically, especially how well they played. This basically makes them very, very likely to win playoffs. So I do have notes for this match, not too many, but we'll go through them. So turn 5. So turn 5, I said this is a very scary exchange for Kingston. Lucky to get Toxic off from Sludge Bomb. Also really great set by Pittsburgh too, but eventually like if you're not always getting the Sludge Bomb poisons, it is like a very scary scenario because realistically you don't have the greatest switch-ins to Ice Beam into Draco Meteor, especially with this thing up with like 4 times defense. I'm glad that it ended up working out where like, you know, ultimately you did get the poison and then reveal rest and you were able to like switch around it. So it was fine, but it's definitely a scary position to be in. I'm not even sure if like Sludge Bomb, like spamming Sludge Bomb there for the poison was not the right play, but then I definitely think whenever it's Resto Chesto, I mean, I think you did appropriately whenever the rest turn actually activated to go out into Morgrim. It's still very, very scary because obviously whenever you have Morgrim, you can just taunt and then it's a lot more doable at least. At least like Toxapex then can come out and kind of 1v1. But yeah. Let's go to turn 20. Good switch for Pittsburgh Scizors, but I was interested in who won the 1v1 with Pex because you're PP stalling the Ice Beams and the Sludge Bombs. Yeah, so that I think that was another my exchange idea of like, I wonder, I mean Rest is only 8 PP now this gen. So I think you could potentially like Acid Armor spam, but then your opponent's gonna start Surf spamming to PP stall, so I think Toxapex might win that. Turn 28. For Morgrim onto the Rotom here, I wasn't sure what was the purpose of taunting. Maybe to prevent Massy Plot, but I also think instead of taking the Volt Switch damage, potentially even just setting up a Reflecting the Parting Shot here, or just straight up Parting Shot is a lot safer, because if it is Nasty Plot, then you can Parting Shot out and more than likely go into whatever you need, maybe like Thwacky to get off the knockoff. I mean, ultimately like Rotom can't hit you. It can Will-O-Wisp you, of course, but or potentially even Landorus if you outspeed, and then you can go for a Sludge Bomb. Which, yeah, I just think Parting Shot's a little bit safer versus Taunt is a little bit niche to catch Nasty Plot. But ultimately it's not that big of a deal. Throughout these turns also, like from turn 25 to my next note of turn 45, Pittsburgh was playing really well, constantly getting chip off with Will-O-Wisp and Volt Switch Rotom and U-turn Slitherwing with a lot of switch initiative going on. And then turn 45 is kind of my last note. Slightly confused by Slitherwing coming in here. Even if you are Tera Electric, Ledino T, you can always come in here. Better to get something threatening out, like your Gothitelle, and then just spam Psychic, because your opponent doesn't have a Psychic immunity anymore. So yeah, I think potentially instead of Slithering here, you just go Gothitelle and then you start threatening everything with Psychic. And Thwacky's like, as we saw before, Thwacky was taking like 50% or close to it. So and then turn 50, great prediction here to catch Thwacky on the Grass Knot. Really good plays for Pittsburgh Scizors. And then, of course, as I said, who knew that Gothitelle could put in that much work? So overall, really good game. I just think Pittsburgh had really good switch initiative and cool sets with Goodra that always made them be a step ahead. Also, Screamtail with Witch support was really powerful, especially in the end game. Basically, like, denied all the chip that it was collecting on any of their Pokemon. Great Gothitelle Wall Breaker. And again, this is really important playoff stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's move on to the next battle. All right, several hours later, but we're back. The Merfolk's Miniors against Los Angeles Pelippers. So after Pittsburgh beat Kingston Kleavors, this essentially means that Los Angeles Pelippers needed to get a win, and also they need like a 5-0 win. So yeah, Merfolk's Miniors with the team roster in the top right. Los Angeles Pelippers with the team roster in the bottom right. Los Angeles Pelippers also has a YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out in the description below. Make pretty fire content, if I do say so myself. But yeah, Marvel Falls deciding to bring Basculegion Female, Camerupt, Lycanroc, Wugtrio, Tornadus, and Phalanx. While Iron Hands, Los Angeles Pelippers bringing Iron Hands, Walking Wake, Torkoal, Grimmsnarl, Skuntank, and Jumpluff. So immediately we see Walking Wake into Camerupt as a lead. Pretty good lead for Los Angeles Pelippers. Are going to spam Hydro Steam. Get off a decent 42% on the Wugtrio. We're going to see a double into Skuntank as Wugtrio goes for Memento. Then we're going to see Phalanx come out actually, and then we're going to see a double into Jumpluff as Phalanx decides to go for a no retreat. And of course, Jumpluff is able to live a Rock Slide and no flinch, but unfortunately does miss a Sleep Powder. So at this chance, we're going to see Grimmsnarl come out on another Rock Slide. It is a crit too. I think without that crit, it definitely dies to the close combat, but realistically, Phalanx could go for another Rock Slide here. We're going to see a Thunder Wave come out, but it's actually Lumberry. And Phalanx actually has Brick Break instead of Close Combat. So now we see Iron Hands come out. They even have Close Combat. Wow, Brick Break and Close Combat on the same set. That's insane. Close Combat, preventing the Iron Hands from going from Belly Drum. We're going to see Torkoal come out, set up the Sun. Close Combat comes in. Torkoal taking a lot of damage from that Close Combat. Then we're going to see Skunky again on the Close Combat. So both defenses are dropped and Aftermath is out. I think at this point, yeah, Walking Wake is going to come in and start spamming Hydro Steams. So the Phalanx is dead. And now the Basculegion is in. Jumpluff is the switch, but does die to a Shadow Ball. And I believe Basculegion... oh, that's right. Unfortunately, Los Angeles Pelippers do lose to Timer. But it's definitely really hard for them to come back here. Considering with how low HP their Pokemon is, especially they have to deal with Lycanroc in the back for sure. It's definitely lost. But yeah, this is a win for Marvel Falls. Unfortunately, I mean, from talking to Los Angeles Pelippers, because I did talk to him a few days ago about this battle specifically, I mean, they had to win 5 or 6-0, and I know this, it looked like it was definitely like not in their favor. But something to take note of is that this battle was actually a lot closer than you think. I'm not going to review this at all because Los Angeles Pelippers basically had a play where, like, you know, they're trying their best to get an out here. But I actually think that the Phalanx set that Marvel Falls brought basically gave them an opportunity to win. So we are going to quickly go over this. So basically, off the rip, as soon as Phalanx comes out and it goes for no retreat, I totally forgot this because I was just like, oh, you know, Phalanx, it, you know, it sets up and then it kind of just sweeps and your main goal is to try to kill it. But the side effect of no retreat is that you cannot switch out. So lots of options for Jumpluff here. If the Sleep Powder landed, it would have been actually huge. But another safer play that Los Angeles Pelippers was talking to me is that they could have just spammed Strength Sap because they have it here. And because Phalanx can never switch out, it's basically forced to either keep spamming no retreat or continuously like once you with Jumpluffs you can Strength Sap it down when then you can make it fall asleep and then it can't switch, and then you can Belly Drum up with your Iron Hands or potentially go Grimmsnarl because this Grimmsnarl was a bulk upset. So of course it would have one layer of Lumberry, but like, you know, just Jumpluff being able to Strength Sap this thing down makes it less of a problem, and then eventually it brings in other opportunities for like Grimmsnarl to basically bulk up alongside of it, where it can 1v1 it. So yeah, very interesting there for sure. As well as like if Torkoal ever come out with the Sun, Jumpluff is Chlorophyll, which definitely would outspeed Phalanx and potentially go for another Sleep Powder. So like in this case, when Grimmsnarl goes for a T-Wave and it does end up being Lumberry, another option here instead of going straight into Iron Hands would have been to go Torkoal to Drought, just to set up the Sun and then go Jumpluff and then Sleep Powder and then like try your best to sweep with Iron Hands. Yeah, you would Sleep Powder this, then double into Iron Hands, Belly Drum, and then the following turn try to kill everything, obviously. Which I would think like with Drain Punch and Thunder Punch, I think you might be able to do it as long as you just hit the Drain Punches to gain back health and what you need to gain back health on. But yeah, that's basically like all the major notes. And of course, that unfortunately means that Los Angeles Pelippers is out of playoffs, which is very, very unfortunate, but they will be back for next season. So definitely a contender to look into for next season for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next battle. All right, next battle, we have the Jacksonville Jigglypuffs against the Santa Cruz Swadloons. Jacksonville Jigglypuffs with the team roster in the top right, while Santa Cruz Swadloons have the team roster in the bottom right. Jacksonville Jigglypuffs decided to bring Qwilfish, Hisui, Talonflame, Sneasel, Tauros, Jolteon, and Tropius, while Santa Cruz decided to bring Tauros, Paldea, Aqua, Meowscarada, Tinglu, Goldingo, Tatsugiri, and Florges. So let's get into the battle. Tinglu is the lead for Santa Cruz, as Talonflame is the lead for Jacksonville. We're going to see an immediate rain dance on Talonflame. I've noticed that for this week 7, people have been bringing out a lot of creative sets. We're going to see a Stone Edge miss from Tinglu on the Talonflame, which would have done tons of damage. The Talonflame is able to stay in this and U-turn out into Qwilfish, while Tinglu goes for Stealth Rocks. Now I think we will see that Qwilfish is actually Swift Swim and is offensive, because Liquidation doing 39% to a Tinglu is actually quite a lot of damage. So it is able to do off a hefty chunk. We are going to see a Tatsugiri switch here on the Liquidation, however, get up the Storm Drain, which is immune, and now we see a Tropius switch onto the Tatsugiri Surf, which it is able to live, and after Citrus Berry, Tropius is able to harvest and get back up to its health. This Tropius harvest, like Citrus Berry set, like similar to what Arbolivia does, is like very, very powerful. But we are going to see Meowscarada come in and then U-turn to try to break the sub, but at least we know that Goldingo is able to take Air Slashes as well as Leech Seeds, so as long as we break through the subs, Goldingo should successfully be able to take on Tropius. But we are going to see a double from Goldingo here into Tinglu, as Tropius goes for an Air Slash. I think effectively, yeah, Tropius needs to start going for Leech Seed, but Tinglu actually has Whirlwind to force out the Tropius and its substitute. Now we see Jolteon come in, goes for a Tera Fairy, I believe, as Florges comes in. Yeah, Tera Blast Fairy. Florges takes it decently well and is probably going to go for a Wish here, as there is a double from Jolteon into Qwilfish Hisui. Yes, it is in fact a Wish from Florges, and then a following turn, a double into Goldingo to take a Liquidation. And now Goldingo is back up to health and will go for a Make It Rain to take out the Qwilfish Hisui. Following this, we're going to see Tauros come in, actually go for a Shadow Ball, so also Special Tauros was actually really cool to see. Yeah, sorry, not this turn, but in the future, Flamethrower into Burn on the Tauros Paldea, that's actually kind of hype. But yeah, this Tauros ends up being special, which is pretty dope. You're see a Tropius switch in on the Stone Edge, still takes a lot. But with Harvest, I mean, this thing is just staying alive. Most likely going to be a Protector from the Tropius, try to get up that Harvest chance again, as Tauros decides to go for a Stone Edge. We are going to see the Harvest pop again, so now Tropius is just back up to 70% HP when it came in. Goldingo, of course, is a switch because it does take no damage from Air Slash, and the only bad thing is that it takes Leech Seed, which actually I know for a fact it doesn't take Leech Seed, because Good as Gold prevents Leech Seed. So actually Goldingo is just a fire set to deal with Tropius. But yeah, Tropius is going to do its best to sub up, but in reality you probably could just stay in with Goldingo and just spam Shadow Ball to take out Tropius here. It would take a while, but at least you are PP stalling it a bit, or maybe you would be getting PP stalled as Shadow Ball. Who knows? But effectively, Florges is the switch, and then we're going to see another double out into Tinglu to Whirlwind Tropius out. Tinglu does take the Air Slash, and now with the Wish, it is up to decent amount of HP, so we can now Whirlwind again. Tropius going for a Protect, but of course Whirlwind actually goes through Protect, and now we see Jolteon come out with Tera Blast Fairy. That actually decides to Volt Switch on the Tinglu, as Tinglu goes for a Stone Edge, it gets a clean 40% off, and then we're going to see a double out into Tauros onto the Tinglu for the Intimidate, and Goldingo is the switch on Tauros, which now we will see that Tauros is in fact running Shadow Ball and is fully special, doing 33% to a Tauros Paldea, and actually to a KOing is pretty powerful. So I mean, it definitely worked out in that nature, but Tauros is going to have to switch out on the Sneasel coming in. Sneasel actually takes a knockoff relatively well, does throw out Meowscarada with an Ice Shard, which Tatsugiri does decide to take, and then the following turn goes for a Poison Jab. Gets the poison off, as Tatsugiri actually goes for the Rapid Spin to get up to speed for whenever this Sneasel is gone, but actually with the Ice Shark in combination with the poison damage, Tatsugiri will be dead after this following turn. We're now going to see Talonflame come back out as Florges comes in on the Talonflame. Actually takes only 40% from the Brave Bird, so Florges is going to able to wish back up and low-key 1v1 this Talonflame, which is wish protect support. So we are going to see actually a double here from Florges into the Tinglu after Florges gets up to good amount of health. U-turn from Talonflame into Jolteon. Jolteon, of course, going to go for the Tera Blast, do a clean 48%, and take Life Orb damage as Tinglu goes for Stonehenge, and of course misses as always. Florges is the switch on the Jolteon Tera Blast. We are going to see Jolteon only basically has one Life Orb hit in it left. So Florges is able to just simply wish up on that, and following this protect, it should be up to good amount of health. And now that this Tauros is special, it looks like Florges can kind of just 1v1 the rest of Jacksonville Jigglypuff squad. As we can see, Ice Beam, and it does in fact mean that this is a Calm Mind Florges. I believe even with Tropius coming in, this Moonblast is still going to do a lot of damage. Does activate the Harvest, but then the following turn, yeah, damn, double Harvest is actually insane. To get that in like literally a single turn is insane. We're gonna see the Leech Seed prediction actually, and Meowscarada coming in for the knockoff means that Tropius will never get a Harvest off again. Well, that is, I mean, it needs its berry, right? But that knockoff actually didn't work because it needs to have a berry. So now the knockoff comes in on Tropius, and now it can forever not be harvested. Which is obviously really good because Tropius seems to actually be quite a threat with this Leech Seed set. Yeah, this mon is actually really quite annoying. But yeah, Thunderbolt coming out from Goldingo. Now we see Talonflame coming out. Also dies to a Thunderbolt. Actually surprised that Goldingo outsped Goldingo outsped Talonflame there. Most likely it's Scarf. Yeah, especially to outspeed Tauros too. But yeah, that is going to be a 4-0 for the Santa Cruz Swadloons. And now we're going to go through the review of the game. I don't have much to talk about with this game. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I literally said not going to have too much of a review for this match to save a bit of time. But mostly once Quillfish and Sneasler were gone, Florges can safely Wish Protect Calm Mind, and nothing can pretty much stop it. Special Tauros was really cool to see, but might still need Body Slam to take on Florges. As well as there was one particular turn that I think Jacksonville made a mistake. After this Tera Blast onto the Florges, the Jolteon hard switches out, but Jolteon should definitely Volt Switch here. It's just free chip essentially, and you know, you basically have the same scenario the following turn, where once this Whirlwind Jolteon in, you know, Tinglu didn't want to take this Tera Blast at this range. It wouldn't kill, but it would do a lot of damage. So if they were willing to switch out Tinglu there onto the Florges, then they're most likely not going to switch back, meaning that you have a free Volt Switch here. But yeah, besides that, no major critiques. Jacksonville Jigglypuffs will be returning, as well as Santa Cruz Swadloons, and Santa Cruz Swadloons will be a part of playoffs, but we'll talk about that in the end. So let's move on to the next match. Alright, next up we have the Mojave Cacturnes against the Ottawa Donphans. Mojave Cacturnes with the team roster in the top right, while the Ottawa Donphans have the team roster in the bottom right. So let's get right into this match. We're going to see a Donphan lead for the Ottawa Donphans, as Hippo is the lead for Mojave Cacturnes. Donphan immediately getting up to Stealth Rocks, Hippo immediately going for the Yawn. Donphan is going to switch out here into Vaporeon, as Hippo does get Stealth Rocks up for their own. We are now going to see the Hippo switch out into Magneton, as Vaporeon decides to go for a Yawn. Magneton is most likely going to Volt Switch here, so Donphan is going to come out. Very good play for the Ottawa Donphans to catch this Volt Switch, because that also means that Magneton will be asleep. We're going to see Magneton switch out into Tyranitar, as Donphan decides to go for a Rapid Spin. Wait, it's not Tyranitar, it's actually Zora Kasui to prevent the Rapid Spin. Very good play by the Mojave Cacturnes, as we see a double into Vaporeon on what would be a supposed Zora Kasui. Now we're going to see Hippo actually switch out again, as Vaporeon goes for a Yawn. Again, there's no reason to Yawn there, but I'll talk about that in the review of the match. But we're going to see Vaporeon Baton Pass out into Lurantis. Catches a T-Wave, unfortunately, on the Magneton, but Lurantis is able to defog the Stealth Rocks on their side of the field. We're going to see a Volt switch onto Lurantis, back onto Hippo, but Lurantis going for a Leaf Storm, one-shots the Hippo immediately. Following that, Breakson is coming in. Breakson is actually so cool to see. Goes for an Overheat, but unfortunately misses on the Vaporeon, but we do see a switch from Breakson out into Magneton as it takes the Chilling Water. Only does a decent amount of chip. We're actually going to see another double into Tyranitar to set up the sand as Ottawa Donphans. The Donphan comes in on the Stealth Rock. Donphan is going to get off some really good chip with Earthquake, honestly. And then the following turn, we're going to see a Rapid Spin to prevent those spikes. Excuse me. Cacturne is going to go for Tera Fighting, as Donphan does decide to go for an Ice Spinner. Does really good amount of damage. We are going to see a sub from Cacturne, but ultimately it doesn't matter because even a Rapid Spin will take down its sub at this point. Cacturne does show Drain Punch here to try to gain back some health, as well as Spiky Shield actually. But the Donphan is just gonna spam Earthquake at this point as there is no resist. So we're gonna see Tyranitar come in onto the sand, and it does die to Earthquake. Yeah, Donphan with 2 Rapid Spin boosts is actually looking like a major threat here. So, but we actually see Cacturne is actually Sandville, which is allowed in the league. Other items like RNG items like Bright Powder aren't, but this ability Sandville actually is. I've never seen this amount of unlucky Earthquake miss into, no spoilers, but another Earthquake mix is actually insane. But we are going to recognize that Ottawa Donphans, instead of just sacking their Donphan outright, actually makes a really good play to go Mimikyu. They're obviously immune to the Drain Punch, and with this set that the Cacturne is running, they actually can't hit the Mimikyu that well. So Mimikyu is going to Terra Fairy and go for the Play Rough, so it's obviously going to break the sub. And then now we see with the Sandstorm gone especially, Sandville is really not doing that much, so Mimikyu is able to Play Rough this Cacturne down. Magneton will still be taking a really good amount of chip here. 18% is not much, but I think it's Eviolite Magneton, so good switch for the Donphan on the Thunder Wave with the Magneton. We're going to see another double into Breakson. But unfortunately, even after this Rapid Spin for the Donphan, Breakson goes for a Grass Knot. I believe it's Scarf, but I'm not 100% sure. We're going to see a Yawn here from Vaporeon as Breakson switch out into the Cacturne. And another switch into Magneton as Vaporeon gets more chip on the Magneton. More chip. We're going to see a lot of switching here, honestly. Vaporeon into Lurantis, back into Vaporeon on the Breakson on the knockoff, which is crazy. U-turn as well. I'm pretty sure that's Zora Kasui. I think, yeah, knockoff U-turn. That sounds like Zora Kasui. But Chilling Water, as well as going for a Yawn, forcing the Cacturne out once again. Magneton coming out, Vaporeon getting up a Wish, doubling out into King Gambit this time. And now that there are, you know, no more Donphan, Magneton is able to go off for a Thunder Wave. But at this point, King Gambit is able to come out. Zora Kasui actually came out on the Brick Break there, but then the following turn, King Gambit is known to have Sucker Punch, so it does take out the Zora Kasui. Yeah, lots of things happening here. Actually surprised King Gambit didn't go for a Sucker Punch there. Oh, Breakson is not Psychic yet. Wow, I didn't know that. Breakson going for an Overheat here. I think they go for Grass Knot here, right? Yeah, oh, so they weren't Scarf. Wow, they actually get a crit to destroy the Vaporeon too. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Swords Dance up, but Breakson actually slowing Will-O-Wisp, and it's actually crazy tech. Swords Dance is a good, and Breakson shows Charm. Crazy tech. I guess it's really good for Mimikyu though, right? To charm it down, it's pretty, I mean, you're not winning the 1v1, but it's definitely a way of reducing its damage output for sure. Magneton coming out on the Mimikyu. Gonna see King Gambit come out. It does take a Thunderbolt to the face, but King Gambit is gonna threaten Magneton with a Sucker Punch. I think even at this point, yeah, if King Gambit was able to get off a hit there, well, it probably was Sucker Punch, but it was gonna fail, right? But yeah, we're gonna see a whole bunch of switches basically. Cacturne trying to go for this sub Drain Punch, Spiky Shield strategy. Lurantis going for Leaf Storm. It looks as if, you know, Cacturne could do it, but actually Lurantis at the end actually showing synthesis, which is pretty crazy. I think if it didn't have synthesis, I think this Cacturne actually would have put work in for the late game, but maybe you can always come out and just spam play rough. And I mean, Magneton could be a switch. It could be a lot closer, I think, but you're going to see also Lurantis has Giga Drain, so it doesn't have to rely on always hitting a Leaf Storm, especially the weak defenses that Cacturne has. Giga Drain, I want to say, will do tons of damage, so especially at +2 special attack. Lurantis is not that weak after a +2 special attack for sure. So but yeah, we're going to see Cacturne try to stall this thing out, try to get some para hacks here. But actually, crazily enough, Lurantis is able to just pull through. Yeah, I think Cacturne is just trying to BP stall here. Most likely these storms and synthesis. But yeah, it is unfortunately not going to work. Actually catches it on a prediction. Cacturne going for a Drain Punch while Lurantis decides to go for Defog that turn. But yeah, we're actually going to see finally when the Giga Drain lands, it just one-shots the Cacturne outright. On the breaks in, we're going to see a switch in Mimikyu. Unfortunate overheat miss. But we are going to see a Shadow Sneak actually pick up the breaks in, while Magneton is the last member. After a Shadow Sneak chip, as Mimikyu faints, we're going to see Rotom Frost come in and Dark Pulse for the kill. Sweet. Oh my gosh, I talked for so long. Okay, I do have some review for this match, because there were some things I wanted to go over. Okay, so here I did really like this turn 4 play by the Ottawa Donphans to prevent the Volt Switching and actually guarantee the sleep for Mojave Cacturnes. You definitely have to be careful of this play. This is definitely a really strong play because, you know, if you make the wrong Volt Switch prediction, then your Magneton is asleep. I do think that the Ottawa Donphans didn't really punish the sleep all that much. I think at this point they'd be kind of free to just spam EQ instead of going for Rapid Spin. Yeah, it's probably fine to go for Rapid Spin, but obviously it was a good chance for the Mojave Cacturnes to bring in their Zoroark. Yes, and also turn 7 here, this Yawn for Vaporeon is basically useless because you can only sleep one Pokemon. So definitely just Baton Pass here I think would be a lot better, because once Magneton comes in, you just Baton Pass into your Donphan, and then you just spam EQ again, because there's no immunities on the side. Of course Cacturne will come in because it's resisted, but it will still take a decent chunk because Cacturne has really weak defenses. Turn 10 here, for the Mojave Cacturnes, when they switch out Lurantis, or when they switch out Magneton, on what I assume they were thinking Brick Breaker or Superpower, but actually Lurantis does not get Superpower this gen. Its only contrary benefiting move is actually Leaf Storm, meaning Volt Switching into Hippo is actually really scary, because for this reason obviously Leaf Storm doing it a lot, and also makes sense for Lurantis to you know, try to go for it on Magneton, because more than likely it doesn't have too many things to hit it with, as well as this Lurantis ended up having Synthesis too. So yeah, a mid-ground play instead of going for Hippo could have been to go Breakshin there, and then you threaten this thing out with an Overheat, which is what you do the following turn. But yeah, and then turn 19, watching all the Sandville misses was really funny, but effectively I think Ottawa did what is literally the best way to deal with Sandville, is you literally just wait for the sand to go away, and then you know, Cacturne definitely becomes way less of a threat. And then turn 23, bringing in Mimikyu on Cacturne is also a really good play. I think another thing I think I was watching, when I watched it back this second time, it felt like there was something that I was missing. Definitely I think in the later game. I think all this was fine though. I swear there was something else that I missed. I think it was potentially here. I think how much was Sucker Punch doing? How much was how much does Drain Punch do? Not enough, right? Sucker Punch does 39% versus, where's Drain Punch? 40%. So I actually think this Lurantis would have died then, right? Wait, are you faster? So like this turn, on the Sucker Punch, like this is fine, but you definitely want to Drain Punch instead. Yeah, because Mimikyu can't come out. When this fails, I think you can Drain Punch, right? You outspeed? Let's look for a turn where you outsped. I mean, yeah, you outspeed because of substitute. So I think that was a missed opportunity to actually just kill the Lurantis there by the Mojave Cacturnes. Because they are faster. You don't need to Sucker Punch, and also you deal more damage with Drain Punch. And you gain back more health. So yeah. That was definitely a miskill by the Mojave Cacturnes. And I think that was the only thing that I caught. But yeah. That's pretty much it for this review. I am going to go for the going to the playoffs. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, I do want to say thank you for all the Kalos people that were a part of this season. We are going to move into playoffs, meaning that there's going to be a lot of people not playing, but we are actively working on season 4 tiering and all sorts of stuff, and there will be you know, more people coming out for new players in the Kalos Division, as well as whoever wins the Kalos Championship will be moved up to Unova. So a lot of exciting things coming for the PBO, so definitely stay tuned, as well as, yeah, just huge shout outs to the players always scheduling. I know we lost, I think, like 3 people throughout the season, which is, like, you know, always gonna happen, but I do appreciate the people that stayed, and I actually got to meet a lot of really cool people from doing this type of you know, PB, like, draft style thing. It was really cool. I met a lot of cool people, even playing some random battles every now and then, like all together. Just streaming in Discord has been a lot of fun. So I do appreciate everyone that has been a excellent part of this community for the PBO. So yeah, yeah. Without further ado, without getting too emotional, let's go on to playoffs. It is really raining where I'm at. Okay, so also I forgot to mention. I totally forgot to mention there was a forfeit from Sonoran Pikachus on the Wailing Warlords, but it, you know, it didn't really make much of a difference. So let's look into playoffs. So this might be a little bit hard to see, but for the X Division, we have Marble Falls Miniors, Toronto Staraptors, and Kingston Kleavors. For the Y Division, we have Sonoran Pikachu, Santa Cruz Swadloons, and Pittsburgh Scizors. So for the first round, Marble Falls will have a bye because they're in the first seed. Sonoran Pikachus will have a bye because they're in the first seed. And then Toronto Staraptors, 2 will play 3. So Toronto Staraptors will play Kingston Kleavors. And then after whoever wins this will face Marble Falls Miniors, and whoever wins that will go on to champion the champion round, or the final round. Whereas over here, Santa Cruz Swadloons, 2 will face 3, will face Pittsburgh Scizors, and then whoever wins that will face the top seed Sonoran Pikachus, and then whoever wins that goes to the finals match, and then will be championship. So when the rounds go off, I think for the first round I'll definitely record watching the game, going through the game. I don't know if I'll review them. I don't think people are going to be, I mean, there might be, like, I feel like during the season it's just kind of catching like the more obvious mistakes, whereas I definitely think in playoffs people are going to be playing a lot sharper. So I think it's like going to be a lot less, you know, misplays, and more like just, you know, really good prep and really good, you know, who's being more aggressive, doing more plays. So it's going to definitely be harder. I don't know if I'm going to do a review, but I'll definitely try. But of course we are going to next week we're gonna go through round 1s of Toronto Staraptors versus Kingston Kleavors, and Santa Cruz Swadloons against Pittsburgh Scizors. So yeah, without further ado, I'm losing my voice, so I'm gonna get the heck out of here. But make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe for more of the Pokemon Battle Organization, the PBO. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.